Welcome back everyone, and welcome to week 3 of our Defender camper build. So in the first week's video we got the alu cab roof installed and the 270-degree awning, which came out really good. I'm really happy with that. And then in last week's video we got a lot of the interior started. So we've got the carpet done, we got all the lino done, we got both the windows in, and we started paneling it out as well. So it's coming along nicely. And then in this week's video I'm hoping to get a lot of like electrics in and things like that, and just all bolt-on bits really. And then I might even start getting sorted on cabinetry, depending how we go. So the only thing that's going to stop us is the good old English weather, because as you can see, it's a grim old day and it's starting to rain as we talk now. So I don't know how it's going to affect the day as it goes on, but I think the first thing I'm going to get on with is the night heater. So I've got the night heater box installed, I've got it in the arch and I've got the plate in. So I'm going to run the night heater in here and I'm going to vent it through here, and then I've got to put the electrics in and then run it across the channel in the roof and then down to the batteries over there. So I think that's going to be my first job. So I've got the night heater in as best as I can anyway, so just for now, because I've mounted it in there, that's all secured, and then I've got the ducting coming through here, but I'll have to just leave it like that for now because we're probably going to have the box come out about here where we're going to sit. And then I've run the electrics and that's all down there, like I say, where I'm going to run my electrics over there. And then underneath here, can't really see, but I've sprayed the exhaust in heat-proof black paint. And yeah, got all the pipes and everything on there. The electrical connectors ready for the fuel pump. And all I've done is I've just put this little bit of clear plastic sheet in, so I can still see what's going on in there, but all the rain off the tyres and that won't splash up and cover it all, and it'll just make it all last a bit longer. Next job, I'm going to get a gas strut on this back door, because I don't know if you can see, but you see it doesn't quite open square. It's like, and look at how it wobbles. So it's a bit rubbish, that original latch there. So what I've done is I've got a gas strut and a bracket off eBay, 50 quid I think. So I'm hoping that's gonna keep it at 90 degrees and keep it solid anyway. So we'll see. If you've got a compressor at home as well, I really recommend getting an air rivet gun. They're brilliant. They're a bit overkill, I know, but I use them even like just for this job here, because when you do it with a normal rivet gun, you end up wrapping your knuckles, or like the rivet breaks off halfway, or yeah, they're just rubbish. Whereas this, watch this. Tight every time. Well, I tell you what, that was a brilliant little buy, that 45 quid. So just mount your plate on the bottom there, strut goes across, and then the door pretty much bang on square. And then when you close it as well, when I used to close it, when you like open it up, like it was a bit rubbish, whereas this pretty much opens itself. So when I get the spare wheel on the back there, it'll be yeah, it should be lovely. Next job, electrics. Now I don't actually mind doing electrics, and the way I do them is, like I say, I did this last week, but I'll show you again. I screwed a bit of wood, painted a bit of wood, screwed it to the metal so it's easier to mount the components to. So it's just behind the passenger seat here, because there's no real space to store much there, but enough to get all the electrical components in. So I'm going to get all them in, and I've just laid all the stuff out on the bench. I'll show you what I'm running. So we've got a 1000-watt inverter, because all I do is just charge one laptop charger. We don't really run anything 240 volt. And then a fuse to go with that, and then there's a little on-off button controller that came with it. And then I've got the Renogy DC-DC and MPPT controller built in. So rather than run Victron 2 separate, so I'm going to give this a go. So we'll see how that gets on. And then obviously the fuse that goes with that. And then I'm going to run 2 battery posts as well. I don't know if I'll definitely run them yet or not, but we'll see. And then I've got the 12-volt fuse panel, and then a switch to feed that as well. So I got them in, but I can't finish it off because I need some cable management anyway. So I've got all them in, but what I want to do is I want to run some cable management that's like trunking all the way along the bottom there. So when I bring the wires out, I can go straight into it, and it can all be neat, nice and neat in there. And then also I've got to run a wire up here into the roof, And then over there as well, I've got to get one into the roof. So, like I say, if I get some trunk in it, it'll make it look a lot neater. And then also, if I never need to run any more wires or anything like that, it'll be a lot nicer as well. The next thing I'll show you is this little cubby box. Although it's not a cubby box, it's a safe. So it's a similar sort of size to the old cubby box. You can still change gear and everything all right. And all I've done is I've fitted the drinks holder out the original cubby box, made a little box of that and bolted it to the safe. And then this is a bit of lightweight worktop, and I've just routed the edge out on that, and then routed the middle out where the electronic control panel is on the safe, and then just put a bit of foam on the top of the safe there for this to sit in nice and snug and doesn't rattle. And then the safe itself, all I've done is fitted a little strap and riveted that to the front of the safe. And don't worry, I'll change the code. But this safe is huge. It fits 2 laptops, a drone, a camera, all your gear, like passports, everything, purses. You can get everything in there, and it fits perfectly between the 2 seats in here. So yeah, for a bit of security, rather than chucking all your valuables in a drawer in the back or something like that, at least you know this is bolted to the floor. If they want to nick it, they're going to have to either cut your bolts off or cut your floor out. So.
Hi everyone, I am very sorry. I've just realised I haven't come out to say hello to you this episode. You've been stuck with old boring pants over here all day. Been inside doing editing and bits and bobs of work.
That's what she says. Every time I've gone in there, she's been eating, sleeping or on her phone.
I have not been sleeping. I've been eating, I'll give him that.
All the long-term viewers, all the long-term subscribers to our videos, I'll take you back, shall I? And I'll show you what she was doing. Pretty much the same thing. So.
It's not true. I've been very productive today, but I just haven't been outside. So I'm sorry if you've missed me.
But you come to work now, yeah?
No, I've just come to hold the camera for you, if I'm honest, and then I'm going to put dinner on.
So you're going to work tomorrow?
Also, that's a no from me, because I'm off to see my mum. I'm off on a jolly, because she's visiting from Australia.
The next day?
Yeah, also not then.
So it's just me this episode.
Yeah, sorry, you stuck with old boring pants over here.
Anyways, next job.
Yes, let's show the people the next job.
So, we've got to mount these 2 jerry cans on the side here, because like I said before, you can always get to a water point to fill a jerry can up, and then we can always fill the tank up if we need to. So I'm going to make a bracket for them to go on there. So I've got the jerry can brackets done, but you know the worst thing about Jess not working with me? I get a bit bored because I've got no one to torment. So you know what we're going to do? Let's go torment her. Jess! Oh well, got my fix for the day. Let me show you these brackets. So here it is, look, all it is just flat bar basically. So I've got 3 strips running down, and then I've folded and welded this like box here with the support in there, and then just put a piece along the bottom like that. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to have 2 jerry cans sit in there like that, and then just to secure them on this the unwind rail that's up there and down there, I'm just going to put a strap over on the quick release clips, so you can just take it off nice and easy. So I'm quite happy with that's come out. I've just got to weld it all up properly now. It's just tacked together, and then I've got to get that powder coated as well. And then I think we're going to put a box, a storage box, but I think I'll have to get that made up maybe, because really it needs to be aluminium. Like if it's going on there and it's going to be so big, yeah, and I can't weld aluminium. I haven't got a TIG welder, so yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see about that one, but I think I'm going to call it a night for tonight anyway, because as you see, Jess was on with my dinner, so I'll see you in the morning. Morning everyone. So Jess is gone. She's gone to see her mum for the day, so you're stuck with me all day again. But what I've gone with this morning is I've got the passenger seat out, because obviously on the old Defenders the battery is under the passenger seat, and I've got to run the cables from there to the DC charger, so just make it a bit easier with the seat out. And I found some trunking, so that's what I'm going to run all along the bottom there, just to make all the wires and that look quite neat. I'm waiting on a fuse for the solar, to isolate the solar, but at least I can run the majority of stuff anyway. And then up in the roof here, so in the top of this headlining, there's like a little cutout, and that's where I'm going to run my wires across, because we're going to have a couple of bits that side, and that's the original for all the lighting, original wire for all the lighting in the roof. So yeah, we can get all that in and see how we get on. So I've got all that in anyway, and it went pretty well actually, so I'm pretty happy with the way it's gone. So I've got a 240 volt socket there, and I run the wire straight from there into the inverter, and I just run like a plug with an extension lead, so if I ever need to use it in the back, I can just do it like that. And then I've got the battery posts in, so I've run everything to the battery posts, and then I just run one wire to the batteries, so then you haven't got to like have loads of wires going in the back, just like nice and neat like that. And then I've got the trunking in, and I'm just running all the small wires in the trunking rather than all the battery cables, because otherwise it just fill it up real quick. So I've got the night heater wired up and the interior lights all wired up. And then under the seat here I've got the little fuse in, and I've got the wire ready to go onto the positive, and that's to the DC charger. And then I fitted an isolator as well, so I've just got it coming out here, and this is for the winch on the front, so I can just power the winch on and off like that. And then for the winch, so I've run the wires into the vehicle, and I've cut the wires from the winch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put an Anderson plug on there, so if I ever need to take the bumper off or anything like that, I can just unplug it there rather than having to cut the wires and be a bit of pain joining it afterwards. So yeah, that's all that. And then I've got this switch panel, so I'm going to put that on the dash. So I'm going to have that for my spotlights, the reversing camera, the waste valve and everything like that, and I'm just going to fit it in here, so go nice, and I've recessed it in there, so that'll look good in there. And then lastly I've got the solar, so the solar wires need to come out to the side of the roof, so I fitted that little pod there, but I couldn't put the wires in, so because it pushed it off. So what I've had to do is just run these thin wires, and then I'll tape the solar cable wires to this and then feed them through once this is all dry. That's another one off the list. Got the old switch panel in, so I've got two spares. I've got the waste valve, which I'm going to use to dump my water tank, then I've got the reversing camera, so that's very nice up there. And then the spotlights, so these spotlights are 120 quid off of Amazon, and they light up pretty well as well. And then I also haven't shown you the little charging cable that I did as well, because obviously in these Defenders there's not much space in your dash, and obviously from there, if you run a charging cable up there to wherever you mount your phone, it's in the way. So all I've done is I've mounted it down there, out the way, sort of in that bit of the glove box, the parcel shelf, and then run the cable behind the dash, the charger cable behind the dash, and then up here, and then I drilled a little hole with a little grommet, so you can pull the charger cable out, put it into your phone, and then just feed it away when you're done. So like I say, saves all the cables being mounted about all around here.
Good morning everybody, I am back. But I hear you thinking, but Jess, you're not supposed to be back yet. What's going on? Well, you couldn't cope without me, could you, boy?
I don't know about that.
No, you just got on and got loads of like materials and stuff yesterday and did some planning.
Yeah, boring shop buying, but yeah, I didn't really show much of the electrics because
it's too small.
Well, I recorded it all. Yeah, where you're so crammed in, like all you see was the back of my bald spot. So yeah, I deleted that.
But we're getting on today, aren't we?
Yeah, well, we're doing the cabinets today, and it's hard work, isn't it? Trying to work this out. Every time we come up with something, it's like, oh, you can't have that because of that and that. So
it's because the gap in the middle is so narrow. That's what makes it tricky. So like you've got to make sure that you can actually open the fridge door.
Yeah, and drawers and cooker and everything. So it's quite involved doing this.
Yeah.
Really. Normally we don't struggle with building the cabinets because You just build them to what you want,
what you
really.
want.
Yeah, but this
the
is
luxury of a great big van.
And Jess is not suited for small living either.
I am.
No,
I
you're
just
not.
want a big cooker because we
Big
eat
cooker,
all the food.
plenty of space here, a big bed, a big fridge.
A big bed. Right, we'll show you later. This bed down the bottom is going to be the same size as a single that we've got to sleep in together.
It's just hard work, I tell you. but yeah, we're going to get on with that today. So I don't know how we're going to get on, but hopefully it's a good day.
We're going to smash it. That's what we're going to do. Before we start chopping things about, we thought we'd better show you the plan. So, this side here is all going to be one cabinet that comes all the way pretty much to the ceiling, with the exception of this bit here, which is going to have the sink in it. And the reason we're doing that a little bit lower is so you can fill up the water for a water bottle, a kettle, wash your face, brush your teeth, all that sort of thing without having to pop the roof. And then we're going to have a big pull-out drawer here with our cooker in, mostly so I can make tea, let's be honest. I'm going for a 65 litre upright fridge. For us, you can't beat uprights. And then on this side here, we're going to have some baskets, like these ones that we had in our wee little van, to store our clothes and kitchen utensils and all that kind of doodah. Got a toilet going in the middle here, a composting toilet. This will be a bench seat that then pulls out into the middle to make a kind of emergency bed, I call it, for if we have to stealth camp somewhere that we can't pop up the roof. We haven't made much progress with the old Sprinter build, but she does make a beauty little extra storeroom. So, loads of fiddling and wiggling later, we've got the sizes of our cabinet sorted. So this is going to be the base plate for the kitchen cabinet, and that's where we had to start because we have to fit the fridge and we have to fit the cooktop. So we've had to measure how far the fridge is going to come out from the top so that the door will open. It has to go up the top. How far the fridge will come out at the top, and then that determines the bottom. So this is 600 at the base and 500 in the middle is how wide that cabinet's going to be. Then we needed to make sure that we left enough space in the middle here to fit our toilet. So you can see I can kind of squat sort of down in the middle here just fine. So there'll be an extra bit of bench seat that goes across the back there. And this is 45 centimetres in the middle. They're pretty squeezy, these Overlanders. And then on this side, we're going to have the bench seat, which again is going to have the bit over the top that pulls out, and that's 55 centimetres. So what we're on to now is doing some scribing. So the way that we always figure out the shapes of our cabinets is to get a bit of an offcut, scribe it to the wall so that it fits in nicely like this, and then you can just transfer that to your actual good piece of wood rather than risking kind of cutting it all wonky and wrong and ending up with loads of waste. So I've come in on the pretense of getting a snack, but actually it's to tell you John has banned me from getting these beauty old girls out. Don't worry, I'm going to sneak them in, so keep your eyes peeled for the old sneak guns attack.
So the way we love joining cabinets together is using Craig screws. And if you've never used Craig screws before, they're brilliant. And all it is you get a little jig like this, and basically you set your board thickness, you set your depth that you want to drill with your drill bit, and then you drill them like this. So it drills in through the side of the wood and the screw goes through the ply. So obviously you know the way ply works with different layers, and it's screwing into every layer. Whereas if you try and screw through an end, you're basically just splitting the wood apart. So these joints are unbelievably strong, so we love to use them. But on 12mm it's a bit hard, because if you set your Craig jig up to 12mm, it'll either be raised, the screw will be raised on the head and you have to grind it down flush, or they pop out the back as well. So what I do is, if you set your jig to 16mm board thickness on here, and then also with your drill bit you set to 16mm as well, and then if you do that, it countersinks the hole in here a little bit more, so you've got your head of your screw will be flush then, and it doesn't pop out the back. So I definitely recommend using the old Craig screws anyway.
the bones for our kitchen cabinet sorted, which is these dividers and most importantly this drawer, because this is the other big thing that definitely had to fit. And I've made it nice and snug so it's not going to rattle, but rather than trying to kind of go off of things and guesstimate it and within a mil, it's easier just to put it in, mark it up, and then you know you're good. And then we've got these dividers, so we've got the fridge going in here and then storage at the end. But if I can give you one piece of advice for building cabinets for vans, it's make them so that you can get them out to glue and screw and paint, because it's just so much easier. So the way we're making that happen, because we want as full height here as possible, but then it wouldn't come out this door, we're not going to put this bottom panel on here until it's in, because it means we can get all the shelves in, all the drawers in, everything all screwed up and fixed, and then bring it in, pop it in, and then just slide that panel on at the end.
So like I said earlier, we love these Craig screws, and where we can, what we do sometimes is we'll pin it, glue it, pin it and screw it. But if we can't do that, what we'll do, look, is because where you're screwing the Craig screw in, because you're not going square into the wood, you're sort of almost going into an angle slightly. Sometimes what it does is it will pull the wood backwards as you're screwing it in. So what I do is, if you get a bit of wood, and then Jess is going to stand on it now, and then we'll put that bit of wood there. As we screw into this, it won't move, because it won't come forward, it'll only go backwards. So if you get that done, like I say, should be spot on.
Beautiful. Nice, eh?
Morning everyone. So last time we see you, we just got this kitchen unit in. So we're going to have to put that on the back burner for now, because we've got to sort the toilet and this pull-out bed. So yesterday we spent the whole day doing this toilet, and it's been an absolute nightmare. Because obviously we're going to have the cushions go over here, we've got to keep the toilet low. And I know you can get chemical toilets to fit, but we don't like chemical toilets. We like composting toilets because they're easier to get rid of and they don't smell as much either. And like I say, we didn't believe it until we got some. We've run a couple of separats before, but they're really expensive and they're huge as well, but they work incredible. So we've had a go at making our own. So this is how it works. So we've got the toilet lid lifts up, and then we're just going to put some sealing tape, like some foam tape around there, which will keep all the gases in. And then we've just gone for a normal toilet seat. Like I say, this is a 1.0 version. We've got to do it again because it's rough as anything. But normal toilet seat. And then if you look in here, I'll show you how it works. So you've got the front bit where the pee goes, and there's a pipe that's going to be on the bottom of that, and that's going to go into a tank outside. And then on the back here, this is where the waste goes. So this is 45 quid off eBay, brilliant. And then we've had to fabricate this steel box, because like I was saying, the toilet isn't that tall, so there's not much material in there if it was just going to go off the floor. So we've had to sink it in the floor, make this box, so there's plenty of room in there now. And like I say, put a plastic bag in, when it's full, dispose of that. And then I've put a fan in there as well, so that's just like a computer fan. And I'm going to cut a hole in the floor, sink a pipe in the floor, and then that just operates constantly, and it just sucks all the gases out into the atmosphere, and it dries everything out as well. So yeah, it's brilliant. And then lastly, we've used this before. This is called Sani Clad. Again, you get it off eBay, real cheap, and about 2 mil thick. And we're going to sink that on the top there, cut a hole in it, and then put that in. So if any mishaps or anything like that, it just wipes up nice and clean. So yeah, we're going to get that finished. And then today we're going to get this bed pull-out bed situation sorted, because then as soon as we've finished that, we can get everything out, tighten it all up, and stick it back in.
Bed frame done. She's come up a treat, so it's just going to have a leg underneath here, slide it up and make our bed. Pretty, eh? So we've just got to glue and screw this bit down, and then we can take everything out, start making things pretty.
So I was doing the editing yesterday on the video, and what did I see? Oh yeah, old gun show girl thinking she's funny. I'll show her funny. Do the handle. So I want you to hold this down a little bit. You think you're funny with your gun show? Every time she gets the guns out, she's getting pantsed.
I'm sorry for that child damaging your eyes, but don't worry, I'll get my own back.
Have you learnt your lesson?
No.
No more gun show.
You wait. He'll see. He'll get payback. So, we've taken all the mocked up cabinetry out and she is naked again. Look at her, down to her bare bones. A bit like I was earlier. And we're on to the first job of prettifying her, which is to put this capping here. We're going to put that up along these top bits here to fill it in. But before we do, John is installing some USB points in your love.
Yeah, well, that's the only negative I'd say about the alu cab. It doesn't come with charging points at the top here. So all I'm doing, look, is just by these reading lights, I'm just putting a flush mount USB point in there. So then when you drop this down, they should just clear them. And I'm putting one either side, just so we've got one in bed. So yeah, that'll look nice. And then just running all the wiring just along the trunking, and that should be the last bit of wiring then as well.
Yeah. So, and then the caps can go in, and she's going to start to look pretty. But we're going to leave you there because after that, I just have to fill for days, just all the holes, so much filling, which is a bit dull. So come back next week because she's really going to start to look pretty next week.